good to have you with us this morning. It's my pleasure to introduce David Wall. He's the director of Fellowship of Christian Athletes in Eastern North Carolina, and I've known David for probably 10 years. I love his heart for Jesus and for youth, and so this morning you're going to be blessed to hear from David. Here he is.
Hey guys, this is David Wall with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in Eastern North Carolina. I live here in Pitt County, and I've got some good friends of mine, Lenny Furlow and Sammy Hudson out the Refuge. And Lenny told me that they were working on a video or some videos to send out to some folks, and asked me if I'd make a little video just to kind of encourage the community. And I tell you what, I love my community. I love the Refuge. They do an unbelievable job out there right now. I know that their world's probably turned upside down like everybody else's, and I'm praying for them, and I hope you're praying for them too, because they are some great folks out there. They do a wonderful job, fantastic camp. But as I was thinking about this whole situation, I was thinking of a story in the Bible that I love, and some of my students have already heard me share this, and I apologize, but when I think of the situation we're in, I think of the story of David and Goliath, and everybody knows that story. Great story in the Bible, and David at the time was just a little guy, and there was a war going on, a battle. And his brothers, who were big guys, were going off to the battle. And little David wanted to go so bad. But his dad said, "No, David, I need you to stay back and take care of the sheep." I'm sure David was bummed out. I can just imagine going, "Dad, man, come on, I want to go to the battle, But his dad wouldn't let him. So he stayed back and he took care of the sheep. And one day he was out there in the field, and his dad called him, and I'm sure he was probably like, "What do you want?" But he goes in, his dad said, "Listen, David, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to take this food up to the camp for your brothers." And so David took the food, and it said, man, he ran up there. He was so excited, I'm sure he was like, "Oh boy, I'm getting to go to the battle, And he gets up there, and the brothers were at the battle, so he drops the food off at the camp, and he runs to the battlefield. Now, when he gets to the battlefield, you gotta, I don't know, I think of it a little bit differently maybe than most. I think of it kind of like a football game. You've got this big field. You got one team on one side. You got one team on the other side. And David's team, his brothers and their army are big guys. All these guys are big. They're beasts. I mean, they're huge, And here comes little David. And I kind of imagine David's brothers' army as kind of like maybe an NFL team, They're huge. They're like Pittsburgh Steelers, And here comes little David. He's like one of my middle school football players. He's just a little guy, and he's kind of working his way through the knees to get up on the sideline, and he finally gets up there, and he's like, "Wow, what's going on? What's going on?" And he notices this big guy come out of the field. Now, David's brothers, they're big. All those soldiers are huge, but this guy is humongous. He is a giant, Goliath. And Goliath is kind of taunting David's army every day. He comes out of the field and he says, "Hey guys, if you guys come out and fight me, if you win, my guys will give up. But if I win, you've got to give up." And he does that every day. And I'm sure David's brothers and all their buddies were looking at each other going, "You go fight him. I'm not going to fight him. You fight him." And nobody wanted to fight Goliath. I mean, this guy was a giant, But little David, what's he do? He says, "I'll fight him." Oh my goodness. I can imagine that some of those guys on David's brother's army probably were looking at each other saying, "Guys, get your brother off the field. He's going to get killed out there, He's like a middle school guy going up against an NFL guy. He's going to get just stomped on." But David said, "Nope, I want to fight him. God's called me to fight him." And I tell you what, he goes out there, and what's he take? He takes a sling and a couple stones, and he nails that Goliath, slays the giant. And I'm sure, guys, it was probably like the Super Bowl. Man, I bet David's army, those guys were jumping up and down. They were running around screaming, yelling, picking each other up. I bet they were pouring the Gatorade out. They were going crazy. Man, who would have believed it? Now, this isn't in the Bible. Sammy and Lenny may cut this off the tape, but it's not in the Bible. But I can imagine a couple of the guys over on David's side looking at each other, and I'm sure they said something like this: "That was a lucky shot." That little boy killing that giant with a stone, that was a lucky shot. But you know what? If you'd asked David that, I can tell you, he would have said the same thing he had told Saul earlier. He told Saul told him he was too small. And he told Saul, David told Saul, no, 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 you don't understand. God's been preparing me for this. I've been out on the field. I've thrown thousands of stones. I've run wild animals off. I've protected the sheep. God's preparing me for this. And he stepped out on that field. He slayed the giant. It was crazy. It was crazy, you know? But just like David and God preparing David for this, you know, I look at our athletes and coaches are preparing them all the time. I'll ask my athletes, I'll say, hey, who plays baseball? And if somebody plays baseball, if you get up on the mound, you throw the ball, is that the first time you've ever thrown a ball? No, man, you have thrown thousands of balls. If you get up to bat, first time you've hit the ball? No, man, you've swung that bat so many times. If you're a volleyball player and you set the ball, is that the first time you've set it? No, you've set the ball hundreds and hundreds of times. If you're a basketball player, you're up on the free throw line and you shoot the ball, is that the first time you've shot a free throw? No, you have shot hundreds of them. You see, your coaches are preparing you all the time for that moment when you're going to be out there on the field, on the court, and that's what God's doing to us right now. I'm convinced that God's preparing us for something. I don't know what it is, you know, but we're sitting in our homes. You know, I hate all the sickness and all the death. The economy's doing terrible. And I'm like, God, what are you preparing us for? But I'm convinced that God is preparing us for something. In fact, most all of you probably know this verse, but Jeremiah 29:11 is one of my favorite verses. And God even tells us, I know the plans I have for you, declare the Lord. You see, this isn't a surprise for him. He says, I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to give you a hope in the future. He says it's for our welfare, our benefit. He says, when you seek me, you will find me. When you search for me with all of your heart. And man, that's what I hope you're doing right now. In this time of just craziness, I pray that you'll just slow down and seek after God, because he knows the plans he has for you. He's preparing each one of you for something. Don't know what it is, but he's preparing each one of you for something, just like he's preparing me. And I'm just, man, I could not be more excited about what's going on, just knowing that there's something coming down the road that's going to be amazing. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. So I want you to know that you're in my prayers. I hope that you'll pray for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I hope you pray for the Refuge. You know, it's a tough time for everybody out there. But I'm telling you, the Refuge is a wonderful, wonderful camp. Great folks out there. They've got such a heart for people. And I hope that you'll keep them in your prayers. I thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day, a great week. And as God's preparing you, just know that there's something coming down the road from us that we're not aware of, but God knows exactly what it is, and you'll be prepared for it. Thank you.